we have 4 episodes.
Did we do 4?
I think so. Good times.
Good times.
So, season 1, episode 4, ME time, which just ended up being really weird.
Yeah. Yes. Very weird.
So we open with Amy is on a date. Jake prank calls her, saying her date is the Nightingale Strangler. Back at the precinct, Jake has pulled ahead of Amy on the closed case chase. Boyle and Jake are paired off on a case. Apparently they haven't worked together in a while. Amy says Jake is a terrible secondary.
So, yeah, Boyle's taken primary on the lead on the case.
Meanwhile, Holt is being particularly hard on Amy. Jake, Rosa, and Boyle are investigating a DOA for a fat guy. Jake is totally taking over the case. Rosa isn't having it.
Jake's also convinced that it's a natural cause. This thing keeps making fat jokes.
Yeah, that was huge. Amy is having trouble with the case because the sketch artist is out. A purse snatcher. She asks Terry to be the artist for her. And then we get the ME, who played Caroline in New Girl. And then you made the connection that I forgot to make. Wait, B99 and New Girl take place in the same universe. Because they had a crossover episode.
Yep. And that meme is... that's been a really popular meme lately. The Jake and...
yeah, that was on me.
Yeah.
I set
the bar too low.
But that was on me.
Was it Catholic Geeks that posted one? Like, wait, I'm Catholic. Name 23 popes. John. That's on me. I set the bar too low.
I hadn't seen that one. I've seen some other ones, but I didn't see that one.
Yeah, that meme's everywhere right now. So yeah,
looking forward to that one.
It's the same. It's the same universe, which throws weird connotations.
Maybe Caroline has an identical twin sister.
A la Friends and Mad About You.
Yeah. And I thought that Caroline in Brooklyn Nine-Nine looked a little skinnier than... Or the ME in Brooklyn Nine-Nine looked a little skinnier than Caroline did in New Girl.
Or the shows came out the same year, right? I feel like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Sleepy Hollow, and New Girl started the same year. So we're like, damn, Fox, you're killing it this year.
No, I think New Girl started the year before, because I remember we were still in our apartment when New Girl started, but Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I remember we started watching it when it started, and we were in the West Dallas house.
Right. Okay. Now, did we meet Caroline the first year, though? Because I know she was...
Yeah, I mean, she was in the first episode.
Oh, she was?
Yeah,
okay.
Because Nick was getting over a breakup, too.
Right. Getting over the breakup with her.
Yeah, with Caroline.
I couldn't remember if she had actually made an appearance or he just talked about her.
No, there were flashbacks. It's like, I'm breaking up with you. Ah!
By the way, I'm going to need a sip of your drink. I didn't make the same thing for you that I did for me.
Oh, what'd you make?
Mine's just bourbon and vanilla.
Oh, that's mine.
Yours is called the sandwich. It's peanut butter and honey.
Yummy.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah.
Very good. Anyway, so Caroline has a dead guy fetish.
Yeah.
I forgot how creepy this episode was. I kind of
Super
forgot.
creepy.
Well, I kind of forgot about this episode, but then I was like reading through some BuzzFeed lists, and this particular episode had come up.
Oh, really? Okay.
And I was like, I don't remember that episode.
What was the list?
I don't know, something like, times that shows cross the line, or creepy things that happen in shows, or something like that. I don't know.
So, yes. The medical examiner has a dead guy fetish.
Yes. So we were really getting into the whole Boyle-Jake thing. Boyle trusts Jake so much. Rosa and Amy know that Jake boinked the ME.
So yeah, basically the investigation's getting screwed up because they're waiting on the autopsy, and
Which isn't happening because Jake keeps boinking the ME.
yes, and he told Rosa and Amy about it because he's like weirded out by her fetish, but he didn't tell Boyle, and so they know, and Boyle keeps like singing Jake's praise. He's like, yeah, I don't know what's up with this autopsy. We're still waiting on it.
So he gets caught, and Boyle kind of goes off on him. Turns out that they think that it's a homicide because of the wife or whatever. She only brought one ticket for the cruise and everything.
I've seen enough of that chapter to know that's something to look out for.
So Jake ends up assisting on the autopsy. Hilarious.
Hilarity ensues.
In the meantime, Amy tries to cheer Holt up by having Terry paint a picture of Holt. Holt didn't like his picture because he finds it ostentatious to have a picture of yourself, but he's pleased that Amy got her work done. Meanwhile, Boyle was right. Autopsy finds the death was murder by poisoning. So, and it turns out that Holt's problem was he was really worried about the numbers, and Amy's like, they've been flat. Like, you know, we've had the same amount of arrests. And he's like, how is that good? And she's like, no, I looked back, like, the past 12 years or whatever, and every time there's a new captain, the crime stats go down, but you're maintaining. That's good. And he's like,
thank you. Please go now.
yeah. So, and then, you know, we end with Jake, Rosa, and Boyle having a drink at the bar, and Jake says he's gonna go do some paperwork or something as the secondary, and Boyle tries to strike up conversation with Rosa because, you know, we're in the he has a crush on her phase.
Yeah.
And she's like, I hate small talk. Let's drink in silence. Okay. And I mean, this is when we're really starting to kind of see the different relationships form, and this is something that we've said about Brooklyn Nine-Nine is how well the different characters have moments.
Yeah. Like Jake's definitely the main character, but you don't need him in every scene for it to work. You can have random pairings, and it's always gold. The characters always bounce off each other so well. It's like everybody has great chemistry.
Yeah. And it hasn't lost that at all.
No, it hasn't.
And actually, I think it's, to a certain extent, it's gotten better since Scully and Hitchcock have become
more central.
More central. They eventually get billing credits.
Yeah, I mean,
like
every time they have a line, it's always gold. Like they must have known they had something with these characters, but the thing with those characters is some shows fall into the trap of bringing them to the forefront, and it's like it's too much. But those characters have done nothing but develop and they're still hilarious.
Yeah, but they don't develop too much where
they're not recognizable or anything like that.
Yeah, like you kind of care about them, but at the end of the day, they're still background, and you're not like getting too invested in them.
It's just enough.
So then the next episode 5, is The Vulture. The team is comparing oldest arrests, except Boyle. He was talking conquests. Laughter ensues. At the morning meeting, Jake presents a murder. They suspect the wife, but they need the weapon. The murder is close to the family. Everyone wants in on the case, but Jake only takes Charles.
Oh, sorry. The murder's close to the mayor's family.
Mayor's family. And, you know, Jake is being real, like, no, I want to do it myself, and
I want to do it myself.
Eh.
He's like, I work better alone, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. In the meantime, Holt wants to go to a gun range with Terry.
apparently Terry was, before the incident, like, the precinct's best marksman and everything like that. So he's like, I need to brush up on my skills. I want to learn from the best.
Yeah. So Jake and Charles are looking for the murder weapon. Rosa calls and tells Jake that the wound looks like a corkscrew wound, but then she tells him to come back because the Vulture, aka Mayhem from the
Geico commercials.
No, not I don't think it's Geico. It's Allstate.
Oh, is it?
The Allstate commercials.
Oh, wow.
I Mayhem. Such a jerk. Showed up to take over the case to the Major Crimes Unit. Jake took too long to solve the case because he wanted to work alone, so the case was handed off. So the squad is commiserating over times they've been vultured. They start coming up with revenge plans. Meanwhile, Holt is trying to get Terry recertified for active duty.
Yeah, the whole shooting range thing was a trick to try to get Terry to pass a accuracy certification of some kind so that he can go back and be active.
And not behind a desk.
Right.
So then the team wrap the Vulture's motorcycle in plastic wrap. Then they decide to solve the case to Vulture the Vulture. Cute scene of Jake and Amy in the bus. She's like, you don't have to be such a butthead. And I can't believe you call me a butthead.
It's just so harsh.
So again, we're getting a little bit of relationship building.
Yeah, and Rosa goes and sits next to Boyle. Both kind of like, she's like, Hitchcock farts.
So they find the murder weapon, but compromise the scene in the process, so they still give the Vulture the case. Jake takes the heat and sends the Vulture a cast of his ass. So, and again, I think this particular episode was so cool because, like, he got the team working together, and, you know.
Yeah, they really started exploring the entire cast's characters and really started developing that. Worked well.
Then the next episode, episode 6, Halloween, which is the introduction
of the Halloween challenge.
Love
it. I feel like they said during last season that we actually watched that would be the final heist, and I hope that's not true. I hope they have one more for the final season coming up, because it's just
like the last episode or something.
Yeah, it's the Halloween episodes of Brooklyn Nine-Nine they're like the True American episodes of New Girl. It's just, it's the one in every season that you have to have one, and it's always, or Thanksgiving, I guess.
True American.
Yeah. And you always look forward to it, and it's always awesome.
And New Girl ended
right
on True American.
That's right, they did. I forgot about that.
It was a really cute, like, little flash forward scene, and I freaking love that show.
That show ended so well.
It really did.
Come on, Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah. Side note, so I've been listening to Mike Rowe.
Yeah.
And he's talking about, he was talking about this series of books, like, written in, like, the 60s or something, and, you know, kind of pulp fiction, you know, sort of stuff, like, it's a series of books where, like, the main character is this guy who's a Korean War vet, and he lives on a houseboat, and he takes cases, and all I could think of was Nick's Pepperwood. Like, that's literally all I could think of. Like, every time he was talking about this, like, Travis McGee is the character, I'm like, it sounds like Pepperwood.
That's awesome.
So, anyway, little whatever. So, we get the Halloween episode, very first one. Boyle is dressed as Mario Batali.
And no one else is dressed up.
Yeah.
But he's trying to rouse everybody to the Halloween spirit.
Yeah. Holding cell is full because Halloween.
Yep. drunken disorderlies all over the place, and lots of costumes in the background. A lot of fun there.
Yeah. And then we get our first title of your sex tape joke.
Yes.
Kind, sober, and fully dressed.
Yeah, Boyle's trying to convince Amy to enjoy Halloween. She's like, can I have a version of Halloween where everybody's kind, sober, and fully dressed?
Title of your sex tape. And I'm like, just watching this, I'm like, I mean, in this very woke culture, like, and that, I mean, this isn't even that old.
Right.
And that wouldn't fly now. That's another conversation for another time. Jake says he'd be the best criminal ever. The others say he could be caught. Jake says he could steal Holt's Medal of Valor by the end of the night, and Holt agrees. And again, the character building with the team and the rest of the squad and Holt, it's just
bringing Holt in on the fun, because it takes some convincing. He's like, why would I issue this challenge? Why would I agree to anything? He's like, I'll do. I don't know. He agrees to like everyone's paperwork or something. Yeah, he says agrees to.
To do Jake's paperwork.
Right. So Holt has to do all of Jake's paperwork if Holt wins, and Jake agrees to.
No, if Jake wins, Holt has to do all of Jake's paperwork.
That's what I meant to say. If it's not what I said,
you did not say that.
Okay, it's on film. And if Jake wins, Holt has to say that Jake is a great detective / genius.
Yes. Which,
shout
out to Liv.
Yep. Makes me think of who am I.
So, Gina gives Jake Holt's schedule. Meanwhile, Amy and Charles are working the streets. Amy hates Halloween. Charles is trying to teach her to enjoy the holiday. Holt tells Jake he locked the medal in his safe. Side story about Terry trying to figure out how Rosa got kicked out of Catholic school. All of Jake's heist plans are terrible, or are they? So Charles and Amy are working a warehouse party. Amy pays Hitchcock to take her place. Charles is hurt by this. It turns out Rosa was kicked out of Catholic school because she elected to be transferred out to be in the ballet academy. Terry lulls. Jake is arrested for trying to scale the building with a blowtorch, and he unveils his master plan. It's epic.
Yeah. It turns out all of his terrible plans were part of an overall plan where he intentionally got caught by Holt over and over because he had other members of the precinct doing things in the background while he was doing his obvious stuff.
And he convinced them to do it because he said he would do all their paperwork.
Yes.
And if he wins, Holt does
all the paperwork.
I'm sorry for tonight. It's not your fault. It was terrible. More sex tapes. Everyone dressed up in costumes to make Charles happy, and Rosa got kicked out of ballet school for beating up ballerinas. Sounds about right. And she's still high-pitched.
She is still pretty high-pitched at this point. But, yeah. It was just delightful. What?
I was just making sure I counted right, but... And then we get to our last episode of the evening, 48 Hours, which is the first time they did, like, a real, like, going against the time clock episode, which they've done a couple more times.
Have they?
I think so.
I think they did it when, who's that actor?
Sterling K. Brown.
Thank you.
I am so looking forward to that episode.
So am I.
And this was the little foretaste.
It was. And I was like, wait, is this that episode? I was like, no, it's not that guy.
So 48 Hours, Jake approaches Holt with the jewelry store robbery. He's familiar with the perp. He already arrested the perp, Whitman, without sufficient evidence. So they have 48 hours to find conclusive evidence or he walks. The whole squad has to pitch in to make it stick, ruining their weekend plans.
I should write episode summaries.
Amy was dressed up for a date. Terry just pulled 2 doubles, and so he's tired. Gina and Rosa get into a fight about who has the best pies in the city. Everyone slept at the office working on this case, except for Rosa, who lives nearby.
Lives nearby and won't let anybody stay at her place. Also, was this our first real taste of Boyle's, like... Foodiness?
There
were
well, the
hams.
very first episode, he was all about ham. It was the guy was killed over ham.
Okay.
And that's when we got, like, okay, this is a foodie guy. Amy is taking shots at Jake for ruining her date. Jake promises to have the case wrapped up by tonight, so schedule the date for tonight. Gina brings pies from both stores and makes Boyle decide between them. It does not go well. Holt keeps telling Terry to go home. Terry stays to compare pies. Turns out his brother-in-law's in town and makes him feel...
Small.
Because
his brother-in-law is gigantic. Which is saying something when you're talking about Terry Crews.
Yes.
He's got, like, this really deep voice and everything.
Jake thought he had Whitman, but it was a false lead. Amy changes back into her date clothes and sits in pie. Like you do. Turns out Terry's avoiding his home because his brother-in-law's in town. Whitman has an alibi that checks out. But it turns out he planned the heist with the guy he met in prison. Jake catches the guy, and everything works out. And to make up for everyone, he tells them that he will take a shift for each of them. Except for Amy, because he
got her day back.
He got her day back. So. But again, like, I mean, as compared to what we were talking about last night, like, this is when we really start seeing a lot of inner character camaraderie. And the Halloween episode, you had Amy and Boyle kind of paired together, and that was our first taste of, let's see how these other characters do together. And
it was great.
Yeah. So
it was really a good example of what this show was going to end up being. And it totally lived up to it. And it's not even over yet. We still have one more season. I'm really excited. The show's just hilarious.
Everyone plays off each other so beautifully.
Yeah. It's a bigger cast even than New Girl. Like, in New Girl, we talked about characters who could pair off, and it was just always hilarious and always great. And Brooklyn Nine-Nine does that, but with an even bigger cast.
Yeah. So, I'll be a little sad when it ends.
Oh, yeah. Me too.
But I'm excited for it to start, but then I'm like, but it's going to start in August, which is going to mean, like, the end of summer.
All these shows that... I think what is they're shows that started after we were married. And now that they're, like, reaching their conclusion, it's like, wow, we've been married a long time. And especially, New Girl and Brooklyn Nine-Nine, because they started about the same time. And it was like, I don't know. I remember when we started watching them. It's weird.
S.H.I.E.L.D. and Brooklyn Nine-Nine started at the same time.
Did they really?
Yeah.
How many seasons did S.H.I.E.L.D. last? 6.
It ended last year.
Oh, wow. Feels longer ago. Okay. Anyway. Good?
Yep.